Hey everyone, and welcome to episode 103 of the Pokemon Snapshot. How are you doing tonight, Josh?
I'm doing pretty good, Jeff. What about you?
We're hanging in there. It is almost the weekend, which is amazing.
Thursday is basically Friday, which is the weekend. So, as far as I'm concerned, it is the weekend.
I guess, but we have to get through one more day of work.
Yeah, that's true.
So, what have you been up to?
So I can't remember if I said this on one of the last few episodes, but I started a new job recently. It's not a new job. I'm still teaching, but I'm doing English as a second language now. After doing 10 years of teaching like regular English language arts, and it's been a great move. I'm loving it. I have like 40 kids on my caseload as opposed to like 150 that I've had for the past 10 years. So that's made it a lot better. Still different challenges, but it's been a great move. A few days ago, I was having my kids they were writing about soccer, and one of my newcomer kids, which means he's only been in the country for a few years. He has limited English, but he's pretty good. He's gotten a lot better. He was writing a story about this kid named Roberto. They were responding to a prompt, and he wanted to write the sentence Roberto put on his cleats. And he asked how to spell the word cleats. And I said, well, try it and then I'll correct it if you misspell it. And he said, okay. So the letters EA together in English make the E sound, but the letter that makes the E sound in Spanish is the letter I. So I'm not gonna say it out loud, but I'm gonna let y'all figure out what Roberto was putting on. I had to poker face real hard, and nobody had any idea what he had written other than me. I felt like Lady Gaga.
Were you just like, this is spelled wrong, let's fix this?
I said, that makes the letter I makes that sound in Spanish, but in English it's an E and an A. So why don't you swap those out? And then he got it. But
That's amazing.
Roberto had a surprise when he went to soccer practice. Oh, what about you? What have you been up to?
So, as I said, I was tired today and glad it's the end of the week. It's been a really busy week. So, I don't know if I said this on the show yet, but I am currently assistant directing a show through my local community theater.
Very cool.
And that's kind of what I've been doing since we stopped the podcast originally. I got really involved in my community theater, and I want to say, folks, you should all go support your local community theater because those people put on performances without pay. It's all because we love doing it.
You went back to your theater kid roots?
I went back to my theater kid route. Summer of 2024, I was in the ensemble. We did Rock of Ages.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen that show, Josh?
Not.
Have you
I
heard of it?
Oh yeah. I do like theater. I'm not gonna go out to the theater
Yeah.
very often. But I
So
had to go.
Rock of Ages is really cool because
Yeah.
it takes place in the 80s and it's all 80s rock songs.
The 80s rock is my least favorite decade of rock music. So
Okay.
if it's a bunch of Def Leppard and Poison songs, I would probably not enjoy it.
And then this last summer, I was in a production as well, and we did a musical called The Prom, which
Mm.
is a movie on Netflix. Have you seen that,
Okay.
Josh?
I have not.
It's a really cool show. Actually, the movie on Netflix has a huge cast. It has James Corden, Meryl Streep, Nicole
Okay.
Kidman.
The Prom, like promenade?
Yep, like
Okay.
Prom. So the whole premise of this story is that it takes place in rural Indiana,
Okay.
and the local school's getting ready to hold their high school prom, and the
Mhm.
main character, Emma, just wants to take her girlfriend to prom.
And the folks in rural Indiana are not putting up with that.
No, they are not. But on the other side of things, there's these out of work Broadway actors that just had a show that bombed and they're trying to find something to put their good name out there. They find
Okay.
her on the internet and
Yeah.
they decide, hey, we're going to go help her get a prom. But they're doing it
Okay.
mainly for themselves. And
So
then,
it's like
it's a musical.
yeah, so
So,
it's like part Footloose, part the producers, and like 40% more gay.
yeah. So,
Okay. I'm
70%.
okay, I'm here for that. That's cool.
And I played the character Sheldon, who
Mhm.
is the producer for the Broadway people.
Okay. I could see that.
Yeah. So
That's
it was
fun.
a real fun show. It was a lot of fun since in the first summer I was in the ensemble, then going. What's cool about that show was that we It's actually a combined show. We do it with
Mhm.
our kids theater group too,
That's fun.
8th grade on up.
Mhm.
So, and that was a perfect show because there were the adult roles and then there were the kid roles, so
Oh,
we
that's
could
fun.
really put it up. Except it really hurt my heart when there's a line from the main character Emma. Once we get her the prom, she goes, "You're my favorite middle-aged people ever."
Well, hang on to that, Jeff, because it's not gonna be long before you're just straight up old.
So I'm straight up old. All right. But no, go support your local theater group, folks. It's a real fun time, and I have a lot of fun doing it. And I'll probably throughout as restarting this podcast be talking about other shows I'm in. This summer, they're doing the Star Trek musical.
Ooh,
Might audition for that. They're also doing Little Shop of Horrors.
fun. I'll have to fly out and come to the premiere.
There you go.
Walk down the red carpet. It's like a maroon carpet.
All right, so let's get into some Pokemon news. And actually, I'm going to share my screen here real quick because the first bit of Pokemon news, if for those of you watching the video, I would just want to show because the Pokemon Center returns to London for a pop up on February 12th, and they have revealed some of its new merch. So they're having doing like a mega evolution theme because of Pokemon Legends ZA just coming out and all the new mega evolutions. I got a little Pokemon card holder with Pikachu wearing, I guess, is that a British hat? I don't really know.
Do the Brits have hats? Like their own hats?
I don't know. I'm just sharing what show. They never do
They're
anything cool like this
they're pretty
in the
cool,
United
yeah.
States.
Yeah, I like the card holders, those look really cool.
Yeah. So that is the first bit of news. So this is going to be for those of you in the UK in London, starting up February 12th. Um, and then the next bit of news. Before I do this, I always just search Pokemon news, and I like to see what comes up. And then the next article after this pop up was customer robbed at gunpoint for Pokemon cards worth $300,000 in LA. Which
What?
that may answer my question why they don't do this in the United States.
You get no merch when the truck with all the merch would just get robbed at gunpoint.
Yeah, so
Speak
and from when I was looking at the article, I think this was like a string of 2 robberies. Like there was a bunch of robberies across LA targeting Pokemon cards.
So imagine sitting down around a table with your accomplices and plotting out the great Pokemon heist of 2025 or 2026 now.
Yeah, 2026. Yeah,
Yeah.
real life Team Rocket right there.
Instead of trying to steal the Pikachu, they're trying to steal the Pikachu holographic card. What cards were they?
It didn't say. The article
Mm,
did not say.
it's not very good journalism.
Yeah, no,
This it's
it
the
was
hard hitting
also
news is people are going to want to know what card it was.
probably also have a virus on my computer because I went to the website and all these pop up ads started coming up.
Probably so.
Ads
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah.
So, but it is news. And then the last bit of news I found about recent about Pokemon, and it makes sense that they're a little dry right now because the 30th anniversary is about a month and a half away.
Mhm.
So that's exciting. But the last bit I saw that Logan Paul says he will hand deliver the most expensive Pokemon card. But if you're gonna want it, the price is already at over $2 million.
All right, hear me out, Jeff. We get a group together, say the two of us, maybe two more people, and at gunpoint we rob Logan Paul. Actually, I don't care if we have guns. For talk to the lawyers. I'm just joking. Let the lawyers know that that's just a joke. Can we assault and battery him though?
Probably not.
Okay,
He is currently in the WWE. I think he could beat us
that's
up.
fine. That's fine. I can take him.
But the card in question is the Pikachu artist card, and it's the card he specifically wore around his neck when he walked down the aisle at WrestleMania 38.
Yeah. Okay.
And he did say if you do buy it, he will also give you the gold chain that it hung on at WrestleMania. That's worth like $75,000.
Can we just say, let's take the Pokemon out of it. Can we just say that Logan Paul is a huge dweeb? Yes, of course he could beat me up. He would probably kill me in like one and a half punches, but the dude is a dork.
Yeah. I am not a fan of Logan Paul, the person.
Yeah.
Granted, I'm a WWE fan. He is a very talented, like, he picked it up like he's been doing this his whole life
Well,
for wrestling.
well.
His matches are very entertaining. Of course, he plays the bad guy
Is he a
very
he is
well,
he a
and
heel?
he is a heel.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. That tracks. Why is it worth $2 million? Because he wore it around his neck?
It's also very rare. I think it might be one of one. It was like a promo card.
Oh, okay. Well, all right. Well, what about the questions of the week? We had several responses.
We did. So our question of the week last week was, have you ever explored anywhere creepy? And we had a couple responses to that. Strongest Muffin said, I went to a campsite and found a dirty apron in a dark forest.
But that's creepy. Did you keep the apron, Muffin? That's what I
Were they
wanna know.
making muffins with the apron?
Is
Wearing
that
the
why they were
apron?
is that so strong?
I don't know, but why would a chef's apron? I guess that's what it would be.
Kiss the cook, kill the cook, since it was creepy.
And then Kate also answered, and she said for the question of the week, my uncle's farm was haunted, so I lived in a spooky place for a long time.
Mm-mm,
Nothing super harmful, but family and guests regularly reported seeing ghosts.
mm-mm,
I spent a lot of my 20s exploring haunted places around New England, some of
mm-mm.
which had no modern activity and several of which had regular activity.
So, I've spent maybe a week of my life in New England and didn't go to any haunted places, but I'm just going to assume, just based on the vibe and Stephen King, that all the scariest haunted places in the United States are in New England.
Yeah, I mean I commented on Kate. She put this in our Discord. When I drove through New England, I drove through Massachusetts to get to Connecticut to visit my friends, and it was taking me through these down back roads, and I'm like, I am glad it's light out because this would be scary at night.
Yeah. You'd have
These are the
gotten
places.
you'd have gotten Vermont chainsaw massacred.
Yes. And then we did have a comment from Strongest Muffin because we were asking about him and saying we were his childhood. First of all, he said, I am a he, him, because we also were wondering, we didn't know the gender of the muffin.
Yeah,
And then he said, what I meant by you were my childhood is I started listening when I was 9. Now I'm a teenager. So you were my childhood.
definitely old. I
We are
bet I
definitely
bet
old,
I
though.
bet this I bet strong I bet the strongest muffin could take a Logan Paul.
Probably he's the strongest.
Yeah. And Logan Paul's not even a muffin.
I'm sure with how ripped he is, there are no muffin tops on Logan Paul.
Probably right.
All right, Josh, now get ready. Let's go on to our next segment.
Education!
Yeah, so Kate did have some information for us. The first thing she told us is katsuage is the ritual you were asking about, which is the one where they take the chopsticks and take out the bones of the cremated remains of Japanese family members.
It's like it's dead people ramen.
Dead people ramen. And then she also explained to us that dodos were characterized as being stupid because they were very easy to hunt, leading to their extinction. They aren't any less intelligent than any other large birds, but just very easy for humans to overhunt. All right, and so don't forget, you can follow us on Twitter at Pokemon Snapshot or send us an email at thepokemonsnapshot@gmail.com. You can also find us on YouTube and TikTok. Just search for The Pokemon Snapshot. We post short clips on both platforms, and if you'd rather watch the full episode, the complete video is available on our YouTube channel. And if you're enjoying the show, leave us a rating on your favorite listening app so other Pokemon fans can discover the podcast. Also, join our Discord. We would love to get that back up and running again with more than just a couple of us in there. So that would
We're active on the Discord now, so come back and maybe pop in and make a stupid joke and then leave for weeks at a time.
that's what he does best.
Mhm.
All right, Josh, and let's go to our next segment.
Previously on Pokemon.
All right, so last week, Ash, Misty, and Not Brock are island hopping on Lapras while Ash smugly admires his Orange League badges, despite not knowing how many he still needs. Before Team Rocket successfully steals a 300-year-old Orange League trophy from a museum and immediately celebrates themselves into a forest food coma. A chase at sea leads everyone onto a fog-covered ghost ship where Togepi joyfully swan dives into a suspiciously shaped hole. And Team Rocket is haunted by what looks like discount sheet ghosts that turn out to be Ghastly and Haunter. These two Pokemon proceed to hijack Meowth's body and drag everyone onto a full psychedelic lore dump,
Yeah.
revealing they once belonged to a centuries-old ship captain and Pokemon trainer who traveled the Orange Islands, loved his Pokemon deeply, and won the trophy in battle. When a storm sank the ship, the captain died, and Ghastly and Hunter have spent the last 300 years guarding his trophy out of pure loyalty. When humans salvaged the ship and stole it for a museum, the ghosts literally raised the ship from the ocean to get it back. After witnessing a bizarre ancient Pokemon battle flashback and realizing the trophy has real history behind it, and the Pokemon guarding it aren't villains, Ash and friends decide the trophy belongs with its original guardians. Team Rocket ignores all moral lessons, gets electrocuted, and blasted off. The ghost ship ascends to the moon for reasons, and Ash once again vows to follow a destiny that definitely did not ask him to get involved.
That's a great recap. That might be your best one yet.
Thank you.
So what about this week's episode? What can you tell us about that?
All right, so this week's episode, we are watching the episode Meowth Rules, or as it was known in Japanese, Lord Meowth's Island? There's an exclamation point and a question mark in this week's episode.
Yeah, this week I like the Japanese title better.
Yeah. It aired on May 13th, 1999 in Japan and on March 25th, 2000 in the United States.
It was 5 days before my 10th birthday. Wasn't the last
You
episode
s-
the same
the
day?
last episode was too. You said the exact same thing.
Yeah,
I'm
they
going to guess that both aired back to back in
back
like
to
an
back.
hour.
Okay. Fair enough. Well, what a great day of Pokemon in the United States. 5 days before my 10th birthday.
All right, Josh, let's get into the episode.
All right, so 2 notes before we jump into this episode. So after some time away from the show and not hearing it for a while, I have to admit that the new theme song that they started with the Orange Island arc, although it's obviously not as good as the original, it's still pretty good. I get down in the chorus, so I had to say that.
I will say Pokemon is really good at having and I'm interested because you are musically inclined as we go into different seasons to hear your opinion every time we get a new theme song.
Yeah, anime in general just always has awesome theme songs. So, and then second note before we jump into the episode, I've long said that Team Rocket is the best part of this show, particularly Meowth. So this episode was made for me. So let's get into the episode. Meowth Rules. As the episode begins, the narrator tells us that the heroes are floating on a Lapras while talking about the power of friendship or whatever flower child beatnik tree hugging nonsense they usually talk about. But our villains have no such luxury as we find them aboard their grounded Magikarp submarine. As Jessie puts her wrench under Magikarp's hood, James opines his sad existence like he's in a 3 Days Grace song. Jeff, can we get some audio of Jessie angrily telling James that he needs to do some more positive thinking here?
Yes.
Nothing ever seems to work out right for us, does it, Jessie? Maybe I just wasn't meant to be happy.
Only spoiled little brats like you can afford to waste time thinking that way. Haven't you ever heard of positive thinking? Try looking on the bright side for a change.
So while Jessie and James argue over the power of positive thinking, Meowth is just happy to have some free clams that he found so that he can eat for free. James picks up Meowth and shakes him, saying that if Meowth would learn the move Payday, then they could have some money.
All right, and so so Payday to me has always been a really interesting move, just because it's so closely tied to Meowth.
Mm-hmm.
And there's actually a reason for that because in Japanese, the payday is called neki-neko, which is an idiom that basically means giving gold to a cat. In other words, it means giving something valuable to someone who has no idea what it's worth. It's used when someone completely fails to appreciate what they have.
Okay, I like
In
that.
English, the closest equivalent we have would be casting pearls before swine, which is funny because there's also a Pokemon based on that idiom.
Boink.
Yes, Spoink. I was like, "Oh, you know that." Then I'm like, "Oh, wait, I have it written right
it's
there."
in
I
the-
was
it's
so
in the
proud
script.
of you.
I'm cheating. No, I'm cheating.
Yeah, Spoink is a pig with a spring, and it bounces, and it has a pearl on its head, and it's constantly looking for a bigger pearl.
Aren't we all?
And so Meowth and its evolution Persian are the only Pokemon that can naturally learn Payday, and that's that's almost certainly because the species is based on the maneki-neko. I mean, you've probably seen them before, the little cat statues
Is
in
that
storefronts
the
across.
little
Yep,
waving cat? Yeah. I have one
yep.
downstairs.
Yeah, they're across Asia. They're meant to bring in good luck and customers. In English, they're often called beckoning cats because they're always holding one paw up, waving you inside to spend money. They're usually shown holding a koban, an oval-shaped coin, which you can also find on Meowth's head.
Yeah. It is funny when James is berating Meowth about learning payday. He holds him upside down like you do a kid that you're trying to take his lunch money and shakes him so that as if he had pockets for coins to fall out of. But of course, Meowth doesn't know payday and no coins come out. Meowth explains that he put so much energy into learning how to talk that he lost the ability to learn payday. He also calls James Jimmy, which got a giggle out of me. Jimmy, the artist formerly known as James, drops Meowth to the ground. Meowth and Jesse hear some sort of jingling, which turns out to be Jimmy's favorite bottle cap. And I'm going to need an explanation for why anyone would collect bottle caps because it sounds like something that was all the rage in the 1950s middle America, along with Elvis Presley and the Ku Klux Klan.
So I decided to look up the history of bottle cap collecting, and I'll tell you what I found, but I want my own theme song like K-Tech.
Bottle
And you
Cap
just shown.
Jeff! No, you don't know. We're not learning anything here. We're just humoring you. I'm just
Bottle
kidding.
caps bottle caps themselves only became collectible once they existed in large numbers, so the crown cork bottle cap was invented in 1892 by William Painter to seal carbonated beverages.
Okay. With a last name like that, he really missed his calling going into carbonated beverages instead of painting,
Yes.
but I'll forgive him because I'm drinking a LaCroix right now. I love carbonated beverages.
I have a carbonated beverage as well. I'm drinking a Joy Burst gummy bear flavored protein soda.
That's the most Jeff thing I've ever heard. A gummy bear flavored protein
It's
soda.
it's
How,
the
hold on.
letter. It's
How
the
many hold on, how many grams of protein does this protein soda have in it?
4 grams. I don't know why they call it a protein soda. It is pretty much a sparkling water.
You can eat like a small piece of chicken and get more protein than that.
I just got it because it tastes good. Costco. Yeah. So William Painter invented the bottle cap to seal carbonated beverages. Once soda and beer production exploded in the early 20th century, caps became cheap, plentiful, and visually distinct, basically irresistible to kids and hobbyists. Bottle cap collecting really took off during the 1930s and 1940s, especially among children. During the Great Depression, store bought toys were rare, so kids collected whatever was free and abundant: marbles, comics, and bottle caps. They were traded and used in games or flattened and decorated. This is where the hobby started to feel, very James coded, like some that James would have, because it's resourceful, sentimental, and a little odd.
Mhm.
Especially since, they don't have a lot of money, so
Yeah.
he needed something to enjoy.
Well, James grew up rich, right?
He did grow up rich, so after World War II, beverage companies leaned hard into branding. Bottle caps started featuring logos, mascots, slogans, and regional designs. Collectors began organizing caps by company, country, color, or design, and adult collectors entered the scene. Clubs and newsletters popped up, turning it from a childhood pastime into a legit hobby because, adults come and ruin everything like they're doing with Pokemon cards right now. By the mid to late 20th century, bottle caps collecting had formalized. Collectors clubs, some still exist today, swap meets, cataloging systems, displays mounted on boards, tables, or walls. Some collectors focus on beer caps, others on soda, and some only collect caps from specific countries.
Interesting. So speaking of collecting things, I was listening to a podcast earlier and it it was talking basically about how so many of the things we have in the modern world were invented because of a product that really came into prominence in the early 1900s, including collecting Pokemon cards. Do you know what pastime is like the direct grandfather of collecting Pokemon cards?
What?
Smoking cigarettes. So when they started trying to like basically market cigarettes to people, they would have collectible cards in it. And so people would buy more cartons or packs of cigarettes and get more like collectible cards. And so you can trace that directly to Pokemon, which I think is hilarious. Do not smoke, kids. It's terrible for you.
No. And that's what they also because that's why they also started putting cards in bubblegum packs because
Mm-hmm.
it was like cigarette packs. And
Yep.
so they started putting the cards there as well. I do want to say that Kate did leave us a comment on saying that 4 grams is still more than most soda. So she supports me in my protein
True,
soda.
true. But can you market it as a protein soda if it's only got 4 grams?
No, probably not,
A
which
s
is probably why it's low calorie.
Yeah, a spoonful of peanut butter has more than 4 grams of protein. Um, Suddenly, Team Rocket spots Team Ash floating by, to which Jimmy identifies as Pikachu and the Twerps, which is what I will be referring to them as for the remainder of this episode. Team Rocket runs off to take out Pikachu and the Twerps, and the title card rolls.
Meowth Rules!
See, Ash really leans into the exclamation point in the episode title, Jeff. That's why I asked you to do it.
Okay. I'm really surprised they didn't have someone besides Ash read this title card since they are barely in this episode.
Yeah, they're in this episode about as much as Team Rocket was the I Choose You movie. Pikachu and the Twerps are cruising along when a weird underwater light comes towards them. To no one's surprise, it's Team Rocket, who has just enough time to say their motto before Magikarp begins to sink. Ash, who is literally on a douche canoe right now.
That is kind of a rude name for Lapras.
Well, it's because he's on it, and so is our what's his name, not Brock. And Misty's okay in my book. But he adds insult to injury by sending his Squirtle after Team Rocket. First, Jesse and James are sent blasting off by Squirtle's water gun, and then it squirts all over Meowth and sends him blasting off too.
Honestly, Ash is at fault here. He had no reason to attack Team Rocket at this point.
Yeah.
They literally just show up and Ash, he says, and his exact quote is, "Don't mess with me," and they blast off.
Yeah. He's he's like a Minneapolis ICE officer.
Yeah. He also goes, "I hate to do this. Ash,
Yeah.
you didn't have to do anything. They were sinking.
Yeah.
Like, you were just adding insult to injury at this point."
On a nearby island, some doomsday cult stands in front of a giant golden Meowth as they await the arrival of the great Meowth. Jeff, can you describe what these weirdos are wearing?
So these weirdos are wearing, they're like normal, just gray kimonos with like brown sashes, but then it gets weird. They are also wearing strap on noses and whiskers along with cat ears. Definitely people that if you saw approach you, you need to immediately start walking the opposite way.
And look, I've been to music festivals, like I've seen some weirdos, but this is like a special brand. Cult weirdos are a special brand of weirdos. I would have never guessed that the Orange Islands were near the Jonestown People's Temple complex, but every day brings a new surprise. If you're not sure what I'm talking about here, look up the Jonestown Massacre, but be prepared to have your day ruined. If you happen to be a United States congressman, do not go to this place. But now that I think of some of our congressmen, don't let me tell you how to live your life. You get on that plane and you go now. And we already know that you people love your islands.
Okay. And on speaking of the island, I do want to mention that in the English version where they are, this island is not given a name. But in Japanese, it's called, and I am going to murder this so bad.
But you're going to take it out back and put it out of its misery.
Yeah. Ougankan Island.
That's not bad.
Ougankan are small, sweet citrus fruit that are sometimes called golden oranges.
Okay. You did better than I thought.
Megan Mom liked your joke, by the way, about
Excellent.
the congressman.
Thanks, Kate. I knew you would know all about the Jamestown Massacre. Meowth lands on the island, and the weirdo cult people take him and place him in front of a giant pile of food. He tells them that he hasn't got any cash, so he'll have to give them an IOU, and that's just as good as money.
And it's weird because he makes a Popeye the Sailor reference because any kid will get that reference in the 90s, I guess.
What did he say?
What he says,
I missed it.
He says, "I will gladly pay you Tuesday for the food today," which is what the character Wimpy always said.
Yeah, I never would have gotten that.
Which is, tells you these are adults, right? That grew up with Popeye writing.
For sure. The weirdos debate whether this is the real Meowth of Bounty because the prophecy didn't mention a talking Meowth. So the representatives of the cult there's like one older guy and one younger guy. They don't have names, I don't think. If they do, it doesn't matter. They're about as important as not Brock's name.
I think if you look at it with subtitles, it literally calls them one the acolyte and one the druid.
Okay, interesting. Well, they're going to be the older cult guy and the younger cult guy for our purposes. They ultimately agree that this has to be the one true Meowth because he's special. And in any case, they need to hurry up and get the ceremony started. And we all know what that means. I tried really hard to come up with a name for this cult that was like a play on a real cult's name. but just for Meowth. But I couldn't come up with anything. I spent like a full 3 minutes trying to come up with something, but I just couldn't do it. Regardless, the name isn't as important as making sure that we stop the Orange Island Meowthsaker. Meowth, convinced that the weirdos are going to banish him, tries to sneak away, but is surprised when they bow down and begin worshiping him. Meowth, like any grifter worth his weight in other people's gold, recognizes an opportunity when he sees one. He orders 100 meatballs, exactly, and the cult, not wanting to anger their leader, obliges.
And as always, I like to see what food was actually in the Japanese version. I find it interesting because, we are uneducated Americans and can't stand different things that are different than us. So in the Japanese version, he was not eating meatballs. He was eating ganmo, which is deep fried tofu mixed with thinly sliced vegetables. So
Well,
no meat at all.
I bet I would like that, actually. Tofu is good. If you had to order 100 of the same thing to eat, what would you order?
Ooh, that's a hard one.
Mine would mine would probably be pigs in a blanket.
Pigs on a blanket. Some cream cheese wontons.
Yeah, that's good too. That's a good answer. So I paused the episode at this point on my first watch through, and if you've watched any documentaries about cults or cult leaders, you know that it takes about 3 nanoseconds before any self-respecting cult leader starts having relations with all of the women in the cult. So I wrote whatever I was writing, and then I unpaused it, and this is the first thing that I heard. Help us out here, Jeff.
I could go for some entertainment.
Your wish is my command. Bring on the dancers!
We welcome you, O great Meowth of Bounty.
Oh! Ah.
Are you entertained, oh Meowth of Bounty?
Oh, yeah.
It's even worse when you can only hear the audio, or even better, depending on how you look at it. I never would have guessed that Pokemon, of all things, would have nailed their portrayal of cult dynamics, but every day brings new surprises. Meowth, having listened to too much 2000 sad boy alt rock with Jimmy, sings a song about how tough it is to be a cult leader. He wonders what Jesse and James are up to when he sees Pikachu and the twerps coming to the island. He freaks out knowing that they'll ruin his whole grift, so he gets his cult to hop in their giant golden Meowth, which is apparently a huge mech, and attack them. Pikachu hits the mech with a thunderbolt, but it is totally ineffective, which doesn't make any sense because I'm pretty sure gold is a pretty good conductor of electricity. But correct me if I'm wrong, Kate. Pikachu and the twerps are thrown off of a cliff, but when the cult reports this to Meowth, they say that they found 2 others on the island, Jesse and James.
And it's real interesting when he sees Ash and Team Ash here, because you can tell Meowth views Team Ash in his eyes as the villains. Like, just
Yeah.
seeing it from a different point of view, they're like all mean and they have pointy teeth,
Yeah.
and as they talk to him.
Yeah, any good villain always thinks they're the hero of their own story. Jesse and James scream at Meowth to have the cult put them down, but Meowth pulls a Simon Peter and denies knowing them and has them thrown into the sea. When Meowth while Meowth rationalizes his decision, the cult tells Team Rocket who they think Meowth really is, and that takes us into
Who's that Pokemon?
All right, and our Who's That Pokemon for this week, again, it was another week where we've already done Meowth in a previous episode, so I just kind of picked a random one, and this week we are talking about Vaporeon. And Vaporeon, also known as these Japanese names.
I think it's Shiwazu. It's got 2 A's.
Shiwazu,
Shiwazu.
Japanese. So some basic information on Vaporeon. It's number 134 in the Pokedex. It's a water type. It is 3 foot 3 inches. I guess it would be long because it's kind of
I was gonna say
quadrupedal.
3. That's like not. I mean, I'm 5'9". It's like 2.5 feet shorter than I am, but that's a pretty tall dog water Pokemon.
Yeah. You'll find a lot of Pokemon are 3 foot 3 inches, and I think it's because 3 foot 3 inches is 1 meter.
Okay.
And it weighs 63.9 pounds, and it is known as the Bubble Jet Pokemon. And then it does not evolve because it is a final evolution of Eevee. All right. Vaporeon's name origin. So Vaporeon's English name is a fusion of vapor and the common evolution suffix eon. The word vapor ties directly to its water type biology. Vaporeon can dissolve its body into water, essentially becoming liquid itself. Unlike names that just gesture at an element, Vaporeon is doing real biological storytelling. Water as mist, fluidity, and molecular change.
Okay, that's cool.
His Japanese name, Vaporeon's Japanese names, comes from the English word shower, as in rainfall or a spray of water stylized into shiwasu. This emphasizes active moving water rather than still pools, which fits its sleek aquatic design and combat style. The plural sounding ending also gives it a slightly more creature feel in Japanese naming conventions. What is Vaporeon based off of? Its primary animal influences are marine mammals, especially seals and dolphins. Vaporeon's smooth body, rounded head, and friendly but powerful silhouette strongly resembles seals and dolphins. These influences show up in its streamlined shape, the fin tail used for swimming, and its semi playful, semi predatory demeanor. It looks like something that belongs in water full time, not just a land animal that learned to swim. It has some fish traits. Vaporeon also pulls from fish anatomy, the fin tail, the neck frill, which resembles external gills or fins, and its ability to live entirely in aquatic environments. It also kind of has a sci-fi conceptual inspiration, water as a state of matter. So this is the part that really defines Vaporeon. Its Pokedex entries state that Vaporeon can dissolve its body into water, becoming nearly distinguishable from its surroundings. The idea pushes it beyond water animal and into like that science fiction area.
So it's like those little they're like little beads you put in water and then
Sea
they when you
monkeys,
fill it no. They're like little beads and you
Orbeez.
can is that what they're called?
I think they're Orbeez.
Okay, and they disappear when you like fill up the container with water? Is that what it's saying?
Well,
Like it can basically become
yeah,
invisible?
yep, it can become invisible in water.
Oh, that's cool.
So its cells adapt into an environment at a molecular level and a creature that can literally merge with its element. This ties directly into its name, Vapor, from Vaporeon, and makes it one of the most conceptually interesting evolutions, even if the design looks deceptively simple.
It just
All
looks like a
right,
it just looks
Vaporeon,
like a fish dog.
a
It's like a
fish dog.
it's like a dog with gills.
Vaporeon's biology. Vaporeon is a Pokemon that blends physical traits of both aquatic and terrestrial animals. Its light blue body is accented by a darker blue marker around its neck and a spiky ridge running down its spine. It has black eyes, a small black nose, and a distinctive white fin that encircles its neck. Three fins with cream colored webbing extend from its head, two positioned on either side like ears, and a third on top resembling a dorsal fin. Vaporeon moves on all fours with three small toes on each foot and a dark blue paw pads on its hind feet. Vaporeon lives near clean, clear bodies of water and is often seen quietly resting along freshwater lakes and shorelines. It has also been observed in coastal ocean waters, particularly around coral reefs and blue holes.
It lives near clean, clear bodies of water, so it would never survive in our world.
Nope.
We don't have many of those left.
In modern times, it is most commonly found in urban environments under the care of Pokemon trainers. Its split tail fin used for swimming has frequently been mistaken for a mermaid's tail and is believed to be the origin of mermaid folklore. Beyond its strong control over water, Vaporeon possesses the remarkable ability to melt into it, becoming nearly invisible due to its cell structure being similar to water molecules. This allows it to remain camouflaged while swimming and ambush its primary prey, fish Pokemon. Its fins can also detect moisture in the air, vibrating in response to approaching rainfall. This aquatic adaptability is believed to stem from a spontaneous mutation that caused Vaporeon to develop fins and gales. The gills, not gales, gills, fully committing it to life in the water. All right, some Pokedex entries on Vaporeon. Red and Blue says it lives close to water. Its long tail is ridged with a fin, which is often mistaken for a mermaid's. Pokemon Yellow says its cell structure is similar to water molecules. It will melt away and become invisible in water. Pokemon Stadium says found quietly resting by lake shores. Its cell structure is similar to water, so it can invisibly melt into water. So that's why it can invisibly melt into water. Its cell structure is similar to water,
That's pretty cool.
which wouldn't that be, H2O, two hydrogen atoms and
Yeah,
one oxygen?
don't ask me.
Po-
Yes, that's correct.
Pokemon. All right. Pokemon Gold says when Vaporeon fins begin to vibrate, it is a sign that rain will come within a few hours. Pokemon Silver says it prefers beautiful shores with cells similar to water molecules. It could melt in water. Pokemon Crystal says as it uses the fins on the tip of its tail to swim, it blends with the water perfectly. Honestly, these are all saying the same thing, just slightly
Yeah.
different wording.
Yeah.
Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire says Vaporeon underwent a spontaneous mutation and grew fins and gills that allow it to live underwater. This Pokemon has the ability to freely control water.
So now it can
Which
control
isn't
water as a waterbender?
well, isn't that any water Pokemon?
Yeah, I think so. That's
So,
fair. That's a fair point.
uh, Fire Red says its body cellular structure is similar to the molecular composition of water. It can melt invisibly in water. Diamond and Pearl says it has evolved to be suitable for an aquatic life. It can invisibly melt away into water. Pokemon Sun says its cells are composed of units, much like water molecules. It lives close to water and is often mistaken for a mermaid. Pokemon Moon says blending in with the water and erasing all signs of its presence, it patiently waits for its prey. Fish Pokemon. Pokemon Ultrasun says clean, clear waters are its usual habitat. When it's about to be attacked by an invading enemy, it dives into the water to hide. Pokemon Ultramoon says it detects nearby moisture with its fin. When its fin begins trembling rapidly, that means rain will fall in a few hours. So it's also a weatherman. Legends Arceus says tests show that its cells closely resemble water molecules, which perhaps explains its ability to conceal its form while submerged. I believe the origin of mermaid folklore lie with this Pokemon. I really like the Legend Arceus ones because it's written from first-person view of the
Yeah,
professor
yeah.
who wrote it.
Yeah, that's pretty
And
cool.
the new Pokemon Snap says an empty-looking blue hole may actually be home to Vaporeon. Because their cells are similar to water molecules, Vaporeon can't be seen when they're in the water. And then Pokemon Sleep says its body's cellular structure is similar to water molecule composition, so it can melt invisibly in water. When Vaporeon sleeps on land, you can observe it as closely as you like.
So Vaporeon is cooler than I originally thought because if I have an Eevee, it's getting evolved into a Jolteon 100% of the time.
See, I was always a Flareon person,
Okay.
though my actual favorite is not counting the original three. I do
Mhm.
really like Glaceon.
Okay. Yeah. I think Umbreon looks cool too.
But yeah, that is our Who's That Pokemon segment on Vaporeon.
Who's that Pokemon?
Back in the episode, Team Rocket have snuck back onto the island to find Meowth cavorting with his concubines. Before he can get anything going, the two lead cultists tell Meowth that it's time for the bounty ceremony. And Jeff, I think it's time once again for you to take a huge lore dump on all of us.
Can I just say, when we first came back, you told me about this ongoing segment, and you're like, it won't happen very much, but these last 3 episodes have all had lots of lore behind them.
Bro, you've been taking some or not Pepto. You've been taking some Ipecac. That's for throwing up. I don't know what it is. I don't know what gives you diarrhea. I don't know what makes you have to
Okay.
poop, but take a lore
Um,
dump on all of us.
Oh, well, this is a little tiny one. According to the prophecy, the the Meowth of Bounty will use payday to bring a bounty of coins that will bring about a great age of wealth and happiness.
That was like a rabbit pellet.
Yep, not a lot.
Yeah. Knowing he can't perform payday, Meowth grabs all the plates of meatballs he can get his paws on and tries to make a quick exit. But his giant golden doppelganger picks him up and tries to shake those coins out. Jeff, can we get some audio of the bounty ceremony here, please?
Yes, now let the ceremony begin.
I better get out of here before they find out I can't use payday. You start without me and I'll catch up with you later, okay? Let me go, let me go, let me go, let me go, let me go!
Oh, great Meowth of Bounty, please perform payday. Shake those coins out.
Wow, 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 wow! It's no use, you can shake me as much as you want, but I just can't use payday!
What? Can't use payday? Are you serious?
But the giant Meowth picks up our Meowth and starts to shake him just like James did at the beginning of the episode. So the whole bounty ceremony is them trying to shake coins out of Meowth, and the guy goes, "Shake those coins out," which I thought was hilarious. It's really funny to me that the bounty ceremony is nothing more than an aggravated assault. When Meowth tells them that he can't use Payday, the younger cultist freaks out. But the older lead cultist explains that it's just because the great Meowth hasn't performed Payday in so long. Luckily for us, this rationalization of insane behavior of a powerful leader only happens in fiction. It's nothing that we would ever see in real life. Um, Even when Meowth himself tells the cult guy that it ain't happening, the guy assures Meowth that he just needs more experience. So they take him to a nearby stadium to battle and gain more experience. After back-to-back battles with a Nidoking and an Onyx, Meowth is about to find out why they call it a death cult. Team Rocket watches from the stands and decides that despite the way that he treated them, he's still their friend, and they go to his rescue. From the battle arena tunnel, Jesse and James begin throwing all of their coins into the arena. James, who has no money, throws out the only thing he has, his special bottle cap. After saving his life, Jesse says that Meowth will be happy living as a hero with his cult, and they run away without him.
Uh, and can I just say, this is why Team Rocket is the best. Because you know, if this was Team Ash, Ash would abandon his friends in a heartbeat.
Absolutely.
I also do want to mention that while Team Rocket is talking about helping Meowth, we get to see a great montage of all the times they've had together during the anime so far.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite moments of the episode. Back on his throne, Meowth questions whether he really produced a Payday or not as the cultists pour the bounty into the offering bowl, which the bounty's only like 50 silver coins. Like, I think the conversion rate, it ends up being about $73.
I'm pretty sure they're just nickels. They're not even silver.
Okay, so it's like it's like $8.25. um Meowth notices James' bottle cap on top of the pile and realizes what his friends did to save him. With tears in his eyes, Meowth abandons the cult in search of Jesse and James. When the cult asks him to come back, he tells them about his best friends who overhear his confession. They reveal themselves and give a sweet variation of their motto. Jeff, can you let us hear what Jesse and James have to say here?
I'm a friend who needs you too.
Make it double, we both need you. You too.
You protect us both from desperation.
You unite us all in jubilation.
You help chase away our loneliness.
You're a mess, but we love you nevertheless.
Jesse,
James.
Team Rocket's friendship never ends.
So let's set sail on our ship of friends.
Excellent. Love it. Team Rocket has a tearful reunion, and they head out on their Magikarp. As the episode ends, Pikachu and the Twerps continue their journey across the Orange Islands, while Team Rocket figures that maybe Meowth getting more experience is the way to get him to learn Payday. So they send out Arbok and Weezing to battle him. And that is the end of our episode. So I'm gonna say this has got to be the first like truly great episode of the Orange Islands arc. Now, in fairness, I don't remember any of the episodes that we covered before the 2-year hiatus, so keep that in mind. But I would give this episode a 9 out of 10, but I did deduct a point because there were very few deaths for an episode that focused on a death cult. But I do assume that there were at least a few cultists who were accidentally crushed by that giant golden Meowth mech, though.
Yeah, I'm going to kind of agree, though. I do think, if I remember correctly, before we got to the Orange Islands, I kept saying how I was not looking forward to it. And if I remember correctly, I think we have been liking the episodes more than we thought.
Yeah, probably. So it set expectations. It set expectations low. So
Yeah, but I
they would
do agree
exceed
with
them.
you. I also rate this episode really highly. I especially like the theme surrounding this episode. Meowth pretending to be a god, but then realizes having people worship him is not always the best. His life is a bit empty without Jesse and James. So the theme of friendship.
So it turns out that all that hippy dippy there was something to all that hippy dippy nonsense after all.
Yep. All right. So let's go into our question of the week, which based off of Meowth randomly finding his cult. If you were randomly famous for something, what do you hope it would be?
Guess I don't I don't know the answer. Like, if I could be famous for anything, like if I could just be awesome at something, is that the question?
Yes.
I would probably, I don't know, playing in a band or something like that. That would be like the ultimate
Yeah.
cool thing
I
for me.
mean, the podcast becoming famous would be awesome, but yeah, I would say, my acting, even as I said, I'm taking voice acting lessons. I would love to get on a cool show there,
There we go.
be one of those people that sit at a panel and have people have to pay to get my autograph.
See, I think you've got the right idea. I feel like super talented voice actors kind of have the best of both worlds because they get to do lots of work. They're great at it. They a lot of them, especially like the ones that have been in it since like the 90s. Before then, for a long time, they make pretty good money and they can go out to eat at like Applebee's or wherever and nobody knows who they are.
That
It's kind of
is
the
pretty good.
best of both worlds.
Kate said she's already famous for education, but
Yeah.
she'd love to become famous for her writing.
Excellent.
I definitely would say, maybe we'll get you more famous with education. But yeah, being a voice actor, like that is my dream. I would love to do that. You get to work from home now
Yeah.
with it.
You could get your own studio set up.
Yep. So maybe one day you guys will hear my voice somewhere other than here. But don't forget, you can follow us on Twitter at Pokemon Snapshot or send us an email at thepokemonsnapshot@gmail.com. You can also find us on YouTube and TikTok. Just search for the Pokemon Snapshot. We post short clips on both platforms, and if you'd rather watch the full episode, the complete video is available on our YouTube channel. And if you're enjoying the show, leave us a rating on your favorite listening app so other Pokemon fans can discover the podcast. All right, Josh, do you have anything else to add?
We love you folks. Have a good week.
All right, so please join us next time when we will be watching Tracy Gets Bugged. Who's
Who's
Tracy?
Tracy?